It is time.
This song is by an artist called King Curtis. Have you ever heard of King Curtis before? I haven't.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, so this is actually a fan request from Steve Kimmock, the guitar player, for you. And Steve Kimmock said that he chose King Curtis because he's fucking great, but also because he thinks that he's been a huge influence on so many great artists. Probably a good idea to keep saying his name just out of respect for all that good music like Aretha, Dwayne Allman, Donny Hathaway, Jack Dupree, etc. It was kind of a toss-up for me today between King Curtis and Donny Hathaway, but Whiter Shade of Pale from the Fillmore is my single most listened to track of all time. Just beautiful. On a more nerd musical level, this is by Steve Kimmock, he says, it's neat to see how King Curtis treats the basically 1-4-5 nature of the changes. Not so much as a chord scale or guide tones, but more like speaks a word of tonic or speaks a word of 4, etc. He also says you don't have to include that last bit in the show. It's just nerd speak. Maybe Tom will get it. Maybe not. Not sure that I get it, but there it is. All right. So
That's pretty awesome.
We're here with Tom Hamilton Jr. from Joe Russo's Almost Dead, Billy and the Kids, Ghostlight, Electron, American Babies, and Brothers Past. And we're listening to a fan request from guitar player Steve Kimmock. We're listening to King Curtis from the 1971 album Live at Fillmore West. This is A Whiter Shade of Pale right here on Galaxy Jams Reacts.
his phrasing and emotion in that horn, man.
Mm-hmm.
That was a thing of beauty. A thing of beauty.
It sounds like somebody's actual voice. It's so good. Like there's just so much emotion in it. It's great.
Yeah, the connection between him and his tool and the microphone is broadband. You know, he's just right in there. And also, it's like all about like that's why I think live shows are so cool because, like I said, it's like all about like the intention and the energy. And I feel like this is a really, really good example of how like all of that is captured. Like I could feel, you know, the joy of everyone that's there. I could feel the heaviness in the room, right? I could feel everyone kind of coming together and all the love. And it's just really, really hard to like really convey that in an audio, you know, setting. What did you think, Tom?
I mean, you know, to King Curtis. Yeah, it's one of the all times, man. And yeah, it's just so cool. Like you're saying, yeah, the intention you could. As soon as he starts, it shoots right through you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't stand a chance. You know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like, okay, well,
take me.
Right, here we are. You know, it like forces you to be present. You know, as soon as it starts, which is, I mean,
it's definitely an active listen.
Yeah. Bet your sweet ass. It is an active listen. Man.
What did you think, EJ?
Oh, it's incredible. You know, I mean, I love, you know, especially recordings from back then. I always feel like they put me right into that era, you know. They make me imagine that I'm there in that room with everybody else. Especially you hear these little things in the background, like the people, oh yeah.
Right, or saying
Oh,
like,
man.
yeah, Curtis, you know,
Yeah,
like
Curtis.
it's great.
Like, because people, you know, everybody was quiet for this, you know, in the concert, you know, and they were just respectful of listening to his voice come through and just saying little things like, oh, wow, that really touched me. You know, you could just feel their emotion along with his emotion, and it's one thing I love about live music in general. But especially with this type of live music, right? This type of genre, I've listened to a lot of this kind of stuff, and I just always really, really enjoyed the respect the audience had for the performer on stage.
It's obvious
at that time, and also just the way that they just gave themselves to the performer on stage and were like, "Just take me on your journey. I want to be part of your journey."
It's cool. You know, I feel. And I haven't read anything to back this up, but in listening to this, I would venture to say that you know there's a sax solo, an alto sax solo at the end of "It Makes No Difference" by the band Last Waltz that Garth Hudson does, and I would bet $100 American that Garth Hudson was a King Curtis fan.
Yeah.
You know, it just I don't know. They'll just like hear the through line of just like the phrasing and the breath work of it just feels very like I know that recording, you know, like the back of my hand. So it's like hearing that and as soon as Curtis starts here, it's like, oh man, I think I know one of your disciples, you know.
Yeah, and I also think that like it's the reason why some bands have policies where like you can't have any cell phones, right? Which is really inconvenient and really expensive to implement, right? But then it's so people can be right there with you, right? They're not having like in this recording like drunk conversations with their friends about stupid shit, or they're not like, you know, on their phone or recording like for TikTok or whatever. They're right in the game with him. And I feel like that's something that's like slowly getting more and more like people are chasing that, you know, to have that direct connection with, you know, the emotion that the person on stage is having, and then they're connecting with the audience, and it's like this whole big, you know, jellyfish essentially that's all floating around. And I feel like you know, as it gets, you know, more and more technology, it's really, really difficult to be able to do that, of course. And I love how you're right, the audience has so much respect for him. You can hear it just in their exclamations and, you know, how quiet that they get. You know, usually when I'm at a show and there's a lull, that's when everyone starts talking. You know, that's like when everyone starts to, you know, yapping with their friend or going and getting a beer or like whatever. And I really like how in this recording, when it's like a lull, that's when people key in the hardest, right? Which I think is something that hopefully it gets to become back soon.
I agree.
I couldn't agree more, man. It's it's as a performer, it's being on the other side of the stage for that shit. It's like when we're trying to really get it down and have a moment. It's just like a telling thing of how vulnerability is like a scary thing for people. Silence.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Not. It's like, hey, you don't have to fucking say something just because there's nothing happening. There's always that one dickhead that's like saying woo or whatever, and it's like, we're all trying to share a moment together. That's the point of especially this kind of music and like and the things that I do where it's all about the moment. It's about that room with those people at that time, and it's just like, yeah, man, shut the fuck up and just be vulnerable. It's okay. It's okay to just to feel something.
I think that some people, like when those moments happen, they kind of like get that moment that's to themselves, and some people are like terrified of that. They're terrified of like feeling something, and it's just them and the music, and they're in their own thoughts. And like when I'm at a show, sometimes I think about the weirdest stuff. Like I'll like be listening to some soulful part, and I'll be like, I wish I talked to my parents more. Or I'll think of like, oh, like this bad thing that happened, and it's like all these uncontrolled things coming into my head. And I feel like some people, they get like really terrified of that, and that's why they try and like do other things and like talk or like whatever to kind of escape from something that's really, really important.
I think the vast majority of people honestly are afraid of vulnerability of one kind or another, and actually meeting people that will embrace it is more rare than you might think. But it's funny, I never thought like the guy that's yelling woo in the background, even though we've all been there and heard it, would come from a place of someone who's just not okay with that silence. But it is absolutely what it is. It's somebody trying to make light of a very serious moment.
Right. It's like seeing a car accident and you're laughing or something. Well, not really like that, but it's like seeing something, and it's like you can't like allow yourself to be on that journey, because it's taking a turn that is touching a part of yourself that is maybe not seen light in a very long time,
Yeah, it's like, hey man, I just came to the show to like have a good time and hang out with my buds, and like I don't want to be made to feel things. That's basically what it's like.
Oh my God.
And it's like, all right, dude. Well, okay, maybe don't come to a show that's like this that requires us all to be willing participants.
Yeah, I just want this to be a Disney movie, like I want to laugh and chip chop after 90 minutes we're out. That's what I want.
I think one of the experiences I've ever had with that actually happening at a show where the artist stopped and had a conversation with the person was I saw Tori Amos playing by herself, just her and her piano at the Chrysler Hall in Norfolk, Virginia, and these people were talking in the front row, and these two girls were talking in the front row, and she's like right in the middle of the song, and she just stops, and she just turns around and looks at them, and she's like, so what are you talking about?
Oh my God.
And they're like, they don't say anything. Of course, they're just like, oh. She's like, no. She goes, it must have been an important conversation. You came here, everybody else is listening, and you're talking in the front row. What are you talking about?
Oh my God.
And isn't that, I mean, everybody else here paid just as much as you did. I guess you just paid to come in here and talk and this kind of stuff like this. You just go ahead and have a conversation. Isn't that, it was like everybody was quiet too, right? And then she was like, okay, I guess you're done. And it went right back into where she left off. It was amazing.
Yeah. There's a time and place for everything, and I feel like shows are a good place to catch up with people you haven't seen in forever. And, but you can do that in the back.
Absolutely. Definitely do it in the back.
Yeah, or before or after the fucking show.
Yeah.
But, as soon as the lights come down, shut the fuck up until the lights come up. It's pretty easy.
Great. That's a great quote.
We should just get you. You should get
It
shirts.
seems easy now.
Get shirts and wear them on stage to say that.
Yeah, literally. If you can see this shirt, don't talk.
It's like nobody ever told me to shut the fuck up before. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. I'm glad I paid $25 to be here.
Let's check out see where this goes.
I mean, it's just like the fucking like the jam scene can be like that a lot, whereas people like the music is secondary, It's
Right,
like, well, I'm going to see my friends and hang, and it's like a social thing. I don't even really want to go to the show, but I need to say hi to it's like, well, dude, fucking do something else, man. Maybe you guys should have a party at your house and you could all talk then. Like, why do you got to come and
call them on the phone?
Call them on the phone during the show.
Let's get the rest of this track, eh?
Let's check it out.
Got there's Taking Me to Church piano. Oh, I love how quiet he is.
Wow. Every note until the very end, he was just slaying it.
Yeah, when we were deep into it, I was like, I could hear him do this like for like 5 more hours and be stoked.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it
beautiful.
was really good.
Yeah, that was a great fan pick from Steve Kimmock.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Steve, for recommending that amazing song for us to listen to with Tom. Hi, this is Mike with Galaxy Jams Reacts. We hope that you enjoyed that React video. Be sure to check out the links below of when we're going to be live streaming our next show and also how to watch full episodes. Please hit that subscribe button. Every single one helps.